Hello, I'm Dawn Andrew, Embroidery Specialist for OESD. We're going to look at using the modern petals tiling scene for making several more projects. We'll start with the tiling scene. There are 16 blocks in it. The table runner features the 3 flowers. The pillow features 1 flower. And the coasters you can make with each of the tiles. You can make them without binding and you can make one with binding. For the tiling scene, the complete instructions are in the OESD Embroidery Collection Modern Petals Tiling Scene, pack number 12548. Let's look at the table runner. For the supplies, you'll need the OESD Embroidery Collection Modern Petals Tiling Scene, pack number 12548, OESD Ultra Clean and Tear Stabilizer, 1/3 of a yard of 8 different colors of fabric for your embroidered tiles, 1/3 of a yard of fabric for your backing. Our sample uses the dark green color, and 1/4 of a yard of binding, which our sample uses the yellow fabric. You'll need cotton batting, isocord embroidery threads, temporary spray adhesive, curved safety pins, and thread for piecing. First of all, let's cut a 12 by 31 inch piece of fabric for our backing, and we'll cut 3 2 1/4 inch strips of fabric for our binding. For our embroidery, we will embroider one of each of our design files, number 1254803 through 12548-12, also 1254815 and 1254816 on the different colors of your fabric. We'll hoop our fabric with 2 layers of tearaway using our temporary spray adhesive. Embroider the design. Remove your fabric from the hoop and we'll repeat for our remaining fabrics or add files. The last stitch that's in the embroidery process is called the seam stitch. You can see it here in the screen. We're going to trim each of our blocks now 1/4 of an inch from this seam line, so we'll have a 1/4 inch seam to work with. For your construction of blocks, if you'll lay out your pieces to make your flowers as you desire, we'll sew on that seam stitch or a 1/4 inch seam allowance, right sides together. You want to press your seams and you'll form 3 flower blocks. We're going to take those and sew them together as well, right sides together, to create our table runner. Now we're ready to layer with our backing wrong side up, our cotton batting, and our table runner right side up. Use curved basting pins to baste it all together, and then we'll quilt. And I simply just stitched in the ditch along each of the lines. Trim your quilt so all your edges are even, and stitch on your binding. And your table runner is complete. Next, we'll look at our pillows and making a pillow. For the pillow, you'll need the OESD Embroidery Collection Modern Petals Tiling Scene, pack number 12548, the OESD Ultra Clean and Tear, 1/3 of a yard of 4 different colors of fabric for your embroidered tiles, 1/3 of a yard for your backing. Again, we use the dark green fabric, 1/3 of a yard of off-white fabric for a pillow form if you want to make your own, or a 10-inch pillow form, cotton batting, isocord embroidery threads, and temporary spray adhesive. Embroider one of each of your design files 1254803, 04, 07, and 08, or any of the other flowers that you would prefer on your different colors of fabric. Hoop your fabric with 2 layers of tearaway using the temporary spray adhesive. Embroider your design, remove your fabric from the hoop, and repeat for the remaining files and fabrics. Once we're finished, again we're going to trim 1/4 of an inch from your seam stitch on all of your pieces. And now we're ready to lay them out and stitch them together using the 1/4 inch seam allowances, right sides together. Press it, and you've now got your flower block. We're going to cut out a piece of batting and fabric and layer them behind the flower block. And I just simply stitched in the ditch and then zigzagged all the raw edges even. We'll cut 2 pieces for our backing. They're 7 inches by 10.5 inches. Fold under a 1/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch, and we'll stitch this in place. And you'll repeat that for the other piece as well. With right sides together onto the pillow, we'll overlap them along the back, pin it in place, and then we'll stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Trim your corners, turn it right side out, press it, and now we're ready to insert your pillow form, or we're going to make a pillow form. So let's see how we're going to make our own pillow form. For your pillow form, we cut 2 10-inch pieces of off-white fabric and 2 10-inch pieces of cotton batting. Put your cotton batting on the wrong side of the off-white fabric. With right sides all together, so you'll have batting, 2 layers of fabric and another layer of batting, stitch your 1/4 of an inch seam allowance all the way around, leaving an opening down at the bottom. Trim your corners, turn it right side out, press it if you need to, and start stuffing with fiberfill. By putting the batting on the fabric, that helps to smooth out the fiberfill so it's not all lumpy. Pin the opening closed, slip stitch it with a hand needle in small stitches, and you have your pillow form. We'll insert it into our pillow block and make our pillow. The last project that we're going to make is the coasters. For the coasters, we have 2 different options. Again, use your Embroidery Collection Modern Petals Tiling Scene 12548 and the OESD Ultra Clean and Tear medium weight tearaway. 1/3 of a yard of 4 different colors of fabric if you want to make 4 different tiling scenes or 4 different coasters, and 1/4 of a yard of backing. Our sample used the dark green fabric again. Now we have another option, and that is that you can bind the outer edges of your coaster with fabric. So cut a 2 1/4 inch strip of fabric for the binding, and our sample used the dark navy color. We're going to work with Embroidery versus cotton batting, isocord embroidery threads, and your temporary spray adhesive. Embroider any of the design files that you want on your different colors of fabric for your coasters. Hoop your fabric with 2 layers of tearaway using your temporary spray adhesive, embroider the design, remove your fabric from the hoop, and repeat for the remaining design files and fabrics. Again, we're going to trim a 1/4 of an inch from your seam stitch. Cut your backing and your Embroidery to be the same size as your tile. Right sides together. We're going to stitch all the way around, leaving an opening on one end. Trim your corners, turn it right side out and press, and we'll simply slip stitch the opening closed, and you have your coasters. Now if you want to make a coaster with the binding, then again cut your backing and your Embroidery, layer it wrong side up of your backing, the Embroidery, and your tile, zigzag the edges together all the way around, and then we'll stitch on the binding, and I used a miter corner technique, and then slip stitch your binding in place, and you have your coaster. So you have two different types of coasters that you can make with these tiles. For customer support, and if you have other questions or interested in our designs, you can find us at embroideryonline.com or embdesignstudio.com. We also have other webinars and videos that are posted on the YouTube channel under Embroidery Online, and you can always contact us at support@oesd.com. Thank you so much for attending.